Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD StarCraft, and I am proud to bring you guys the semifinals of the European Heart of the Swarm tournament. And, you know, this tournament has been, I think, everything that we could have asked for. The players have been utilizing new strategies, whether it be all the way full-blown with, for example, in the last game, pooping creep to block the opponent's front door, because now you can poop creep, apparently, on hatchery tech, or whether it be just a limited extent with maybe using a Warhound or two to drop behind the mineral lines. You know, this has been an amazing event, and namely because the players have been doing such a spectacular job of experimenting, trying out new builds, strategies, and ideas, and we're kind of just seeing the evolution now of Heart of the Swarm. And it's really cool because, you know, the beta supposedly is going to be going live in a few days, and, you know, what better way to go ahead and get our feet wet as a community, as myself as a caster, you guys the viewers, for Heart of the Swarm before it actually goes live. And, you know, for those lucky enough to have a beta key, you know, you guys will be able to be playing in the beta and experimenting Blizzard's internal version of Heart of the Swarm. Now, I do have a beta key, or so I'm told, and, you know, I'm going to do my best job possible to go ahead and get extra beta keys, because I want as many people in the community to go ahead and get involved with that. So, if you guys stay tuned, you know, I will do my bestest to, is that a word, bestest, to go ahead and give you guys an opportunity to get into Heart of the Swarm. So please do stay tuned. And, you know, enough talking here. Let's just go ahead and get right into the game. This is semifinal A, and over in the top left-hand corner, we have the orange Zerg player. It is Acer's Bly. And Bly defeating Koss in the first set of this tournament in the round of 8 that I casted. And, you know, he actually beat Koss utilizing not so many Heart of the Swarm units. In the first game he did, and it seemed like in the next two games he sort of settled back into more of Wings of Liberty standard mode. I'm going to try to win the game without experimenting too much, and I think Bly so far has been the most conservative one of the group. So we'll have to see, you know, is he going to try some new cool units or abilities? We'll just have to find out. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have his opponent, and this is the green Protoss player, Roxkiss Fraer. And Fraer is going to be Bly's opponent here, and it'll also be interesting to see how he, you know, utilizes the new abilities. And as Protoss, I really don't think there's an option. You just gotta get that mothership core. And I think we're probably going to see the core come up as soon as he gets enough resources, and he should have enough to drop it down, maybe right after, there it is, queued up right after the last probe. And so the mothership core is on the way, and interestingly enough, Fraer here has not opened up with Forge Fast Expand. He has actually gone with a Naniwa style gateway opening, gateway into core, and a very interesting wall at the front door. But is he going to be able to defend? Oh, Zergling leaks on through. You know, is he going to be able to hold the line here with just a Zealot? He needs to Chrono Boost a Stalker out ASAP, and one Zergling was able to leak inside. But, you know, it's just one Zergling, and I think Fraer should be able to handle this without too much difficulty, and that Zergling is going to fall to the Stalker. Now, you know, I'm just going off the knowledge I have from the original StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty. If you go for this Naniwa style, they call it the Naniwa style because Naniwa, I guess he kind of reintroduced it back into popular play in the GSL, and basically what it is Protoss goes for a one gateway expand, and the reason you do this is because it actually causes the Zerg some apprehension, some anxiety, some fear, because no Zerg is going to want to go for 3 hatches in response to this, because you don't know if a 4-gate is coming, you don't know what's happening, and you actually cut a lot of drones as a result. So we can see now, there's a Stalker and Zealot coming out, and, you know, Fraer's he's just taking advantage of the fact that he's got this early gateway, as opposed to what most Protoss would have if they had opened up Forge first, and, you know, he's just testing the waters right now, you know, waiting in the purple creep, but nothing too serious so far. It looks like he is just going to camp maybe outside this ramp, but I don't think he's going to commit to any attack. And Bly here making a lot of gas, going for a very quick lair. And, you know, that's the right response. If you see a Protoss open up gateway first, you really do have to get your gases going and get a quick lair, because you just don't know what's happening. You can't really go for the extremely fast third hatchery. It's just not safe. But the problem here is Bly will need to get that hatchery down sooner or later, and preferably sooner, because you know what, the Nexus is coming right now, and we all know that a Zerg can't really hang with the Protoss if it's even bases. So it's going to be very important here for Bly to go ahead and grab that third hatch as quickly as he can. Another option that might be available to him here that is actually pretty good, I've been experimenting with this against Protoss, is you can actually go for a quick infestation pit and go for a lurker, Swarmhost Contain. I call them lurkers, but you know, I call Battle Hellions fire bats too. It's all, you know, nostalgic to me. So yeah, I think a Swarmhost Contain can be pretty effective. And it looks like Bly right now is going to go for that third hatchery. There's a Zealot hiding back there though. And, you know, it's just a scouting Zealot. Zealot, of course, having more vision than the hatchery while it's morphing. But a couple of Speedlings are making their way over to the top right, and most likely will handle that Zealot, or at least try to bait it out so that they can kill him outright. And now an Overseer coming into the main, doing a little bit of dancing, trying to figure out what it wants to do, and poops out a Changeling, but that Changeling quickly dies before it could really see anything inside the Protoss base. But the Overseer, you know, at this stage, nothing too ridiculous is coming. You know, we don't see something like a quick Twilight Council, for example. And Fraer so far has really played this out as normal as can be, but he's actually got a ton of sentries moving out. Oh, wow, that is interesting. And there's a hallucinated Phoenix flying in around the map as well, just giving additional scouting for the Protoss player, who sees a Hydralisk Den. So Bly here is going to go for Hydras, and Hydras could not be there could not be a better unit than Hydras in this situation, because just pure sentries are not very good against a large Hydralisk army, and what we have here is Hydra Speedling, and this is actually quite nice for Bly because he can transition into Hydra Speed at Hive Tech, a new upgrade available in Heart of the Storm, but he will have to hold off this attack at first. There is a pylon to the south and another pylon up here, and Bly is going to try to take out the pylon on the right-hand side, but he doesn't realize there's another pylon back there, and now he's going to go in and try to save the hatchery. With this many Hydras and Zerglings, I would imagine he'll be able to do so just fine. And oh, the Mothership recall brings out the units at the very last second. You know, you always tend to forget that Protoss have the ability to recall an attack now, which pretty much means Protoss can never find themselves out of position. As long as they have enough energy to recall off the core, which is 150 energy for the mass recall. And I bet Bly was thinking there, oh my god, I got this game won, I'm going to kill all these sentries and stalkers, GG. But then the recall came in, so a very nice play by Fraer. And that right there justifies him moving out with just purely sentries and one stalker. Usually, you would never see Protoss do that, unless they were doing something like an Immortal Sentry all-in off 2 bases, but we can see Fraer didn't have an Immortal in his army, it was just pure sentries, and that would normally be like, no, that's against the rulebook, but, you know, in Heart of the Storm, you do have some extra abilities, and that, of course, diversifies the build orders quite a bit. Now, you know, just going back to what I was saying before, Bly is going for Hydras here, and you know, usually Hydras would be also a big, you know, no in the rulebook, of StarCraft 2, because they're really not considered to be a unit that's feasible in ZVP or ZVT. But with Hydra Speed, things do change quite a bit, and what Bly needs to do now is get up to Hive, and then he can research the Hydra Speed on the Hydralisk Den. And the Hydralisk Den right here, Muscular Augments, 150, 150, but it basically makes the Hydras so fast off of creep that they can actually catch up to a Stalker. That's how crazy fast they are. So they kind of retrofit a turbo kit in their engines and zoom, off they go. Something that can be very scary here for Fraer, who, you know, is going Stalker Immortal, and I can't help but feel, why isn't Fraer getting a robotic support bay for Colossus? Colossus are still obviously the right unit to go for when dealing with Hydralisk, so I'm not too sure why Fraer is still continuing to produce Immortals and getting blink upgrades for his Stalkers. That's actually a little confusing, but we'll have to see. There's also Infestors coming out now to back up this Hydra Zergling army, and the Muscular Augments upgrade has now started. One of the most key upgrades here for Zerg now in this matchup. And within a minute or so, man, these Hydras are going to be so fast. It's going to be problems for the Protoss player. And Fraer getting a couple of Stalkers stuck here. Going to lose 3. Not a good start here for Fraer, who really is going to be taxed into holding this third Nexus. And I don't really know if he's going to be able to, man. It looks like the Zerg is going to back off for now, though. So Bly hesitating for a moment, choosing not to attack. I certainly feel like he could have caused some serious damage at the front door with that many Hydras. He might be waiting for the muscular augments to finish, though, which is probably a good choice. Hydras, once they go off creep, obviously still very slow until they get that upgrade. And now look at this. We've got a Warp Prism coming out from Fraer. He is also added on the support bay. We can see the support bay on that production tab. It just finished up. Where is it? There it is. So we do have a support bay researching extended thermal lance. Warp Prism comes across an Overlord, and so it won't try to run in there. It's just going to hang out for now. And Bly looked like he was positioning his Hydras for a second there to intercept, but then realized the Warp Prism fell back. Income pretty even now for both these players. 4 base Zerg to 3 base Toss. And now we've got an Ultralisk Cavern coming for the Zerg player as well. And you know what, guys? Ultralisk now, they do have the ability to burrow charge. Extremely effective way for Ultras to get right up into the Protoss army. In fact, if I was a Protoss player, I would be so scared about Ultras, man. Ultras with the burrow charge now absolutely deck everything Protoss has. It is almost insane how good burrow charging Ultras are. And that is something that Fraer is going to have to be very careful about. It's actually a good thing that he made these Immortals. Immortals are still going to be a good unit to counter the Ultras, but this is going to be scary, man. 4 Ultras on the way. Hydras now have speed off creep, and it looks like Bly is going to make an attack to the left-hand side, and Fraer needs to defend here, but he doesn't have a Nexus anymore. It looks like he decided to forgo finishing up that Nexus, canceled it all off. And now it's going to give chase. This is very risky by Fraer, and he's going to get fumbled. The Ultras are coming in. He's going to mass recall again. And if he had not recalled, if he didn't have enough energy, that would have been an absolute disaster. And Fraer just really being smart, not moving out unless he has enough energy to escape with the Mothership recall. That's very, very smart. Now, the Ultras can break through the force fields, and now the Ultras are burrow charging right up in the face of that Protoss army. One of the Ultras, though, is attacking a photon cannon. Not very effective. Now the Viper's coming in. Will he abduct the Colossus? There we go. And the Colossus have been brought in now. He can focus fire and do a little bit of damage, but too much units here on the ground for the Protoss player, and it looks like the Hydras are going to back out. He's going to lose some of his Vipers as well. Both Vipers going down, and now Hydra's re-engaging. But, you know, without enough backup here for Bly, I don't think he can actually fight against those Colossus. It was a clever move to go ahead and abduct them in, but he just didn't have enough firepower at that point after the battle had been drawn out to really finish off those Colossus. However, as it stands, you know, Bly is still really maxing up. His macro is just looking so clean, and he's still limiting the Protoss from securing this 4th Nexus. So I still think things are looking quite good for the Zerg player, and Fraer's going to lose the Warp Prism as well. Ooh, another big loss right there, because at this point, if Fraer is playing the kind of style where he's not going to risk moving out without enough energy for a Mothership recall, then he needs to think about doing damage in some other ways. If he's not going to move out normally on the ground, then he needs to use Warp Prisms to be effective. And so far, his Warp Prism has been pretty much neutralized. He also needs to Maynard these probes somewhere else. They're just chilling right now, and it looks like Bly's going to come in for an attack here. That Zealot standing steadfast as the guard of the gates and not allowing those Zerglings inside. Good job to the Zealot. But this is, I think, a tense situation for Fraer, who needs to figure out a way not only to deal with the Hydras, but also the burrow charging Ultras. And the Nexus, once again, cancelled. Oh man, Bly is now just completely maintaining map control, complete dominance from the Zerg player here against the Protoss. And, you know, while I feel like Fraer has enough of an army to deal with the Hydras, he's got Storm. I believe he's got Storm. No, not yet. He should get Storm. But he's got a Colossus and quite a bit. He doesn't really have a way to deal with these Ultras, man. And oh, we have Banelings coming as well. Oh, are we going to see a Symbol-style Ultra Baneling attack? And Ultra Baneling can be so good, as the Ultras, you know, they'll crush the force fields for you, and then the Banelings will just roll right on through and cream everything else. And we'll probably wait for Bly here to get the Baneling speed finished before he goes in. But this game is starting to really heat up, man. Both armies are so big. They're just trying to get the best position possible. But Fraer is going to be forced to engage because he has to defend this Nexus. But the Ultras are right up in there cleaving, and another Mothership recall to save the Protoss army. But now the Nexus will be taken down. So the Protoss saves the army at the expense of losing that Nexus, and now it's starting to get a little risky. We have 69 workers, but only 2 mineral patches left for the Protoss player. He is running out of money, and you cannot maintain as a 2-base Protoss against this many bases per Zerg. And so Bly is just looking so good right now. And, you know, I would honestly say a mothership would not be a bad idea right now. Considering, yeah, there isn't a Brute Lords on the way. There's no Brute Lords on the field, but there is actually a Greater Spire coming. Even then, the mothership can still be really good because a Vortex, a really well-placed one, plus the ability to just, I guess they don't have invisibility anymore. They took that away and put it to the Oracle, but just the ability to have a Vortex on the ground can really damage these Ultras and Hydras once you put in a bunch of Archons, and he has a lot of Archons right now. So I'm surprised he's actually not going for a Fleet Beacon, nor is he going for the Tempests, nor is he going for Oracles. You know, he's sticking primarily with normal Wings of Liberty style Protoss play, minus the Mothership Core. But, you know, things are getting exceedingly dangerous here for the Green Protoss. Bly now has Ultra Brood Lord Baneling Speed Hydra. And yeah, he might not have that many Infestors. In fact, does he have any at all? No. But I don't really think he needs them, man. This army is actually so scary. And I think Bly is going to make his move now. I don't know how Fraer's going to deal with this. He doesn't have a mothership. He just now started the Stargate. And he is going to have to land some beautiful storms here to hold this off. Those Brood Lords are all clumped up. Fraer can get a great storm down right now. And the storm comes out, damaging some of the Brood Lords. And now it looks like the engage is going to start. Fraer with a beautiful position. The Archons in the front, the Stalkers behind, the Immortals behind that, and the Colossus behind that. What a beautiful setup by Fraer. Fraer is actually going to clean this army up. And Bly unwisely choosing to engage into a choke point where Fraer just had the firing range set up. Fraer will clean this army apart. There are still 3 Brood Lords left, and he's lost all ability to hit air, but now he can warp in some more Stalkers. And I cannot believe how good of a position Fraer was in right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the best setups I have ever seen from a Protoss player. And it looks like he will be able to finish off the remaining Brood Lords. And now all he's got to do is save his Colossus. With what Stalkers he has left, he will lose 1 maybe. No! He will not lose that last Colossus at 20 kills. 1 HP, are you kidding me? Fraer, that Colossus driver has got to be so lucky, man. He hit the lottery jackpot today, but it looks like reinforcing waves are coming in. Bly gets a beautiful engage, and now he's going to clean up so many Colossus. Those Speed Hydras are so dangerous, and Fraer calls GG. Wow, that turned really quickly in a hurry. The momentum of the game for a second there, I thought for sure was in Fraer's favor. Fraer just had to be feeling so good, especially that Colossus, man. That was seeing a 1 HP Colossus. That's a huge morale boost. And then all of a sudden, you have a storm of Hydras run in. They're so fast. It's like a Blitzkrieg attack. And you know, with the Speedling support as well, those Colossus were just not in a good position. But 2 major key points I want to highlight in this game. The last 2 battles. I just want to point out to you guys how good of a setup the Protoss player had. I mean, you could not ask for a better setup. That was like a war-seasoned general, how you would set up an army. Now look at this. Look at this beautiful engage by the Protoss. 1, we've got, let me move forward just a little bit more. All right, 1, we've got a choke point, which is great for the Protoss. 2, you've got Archons in front. They're the beefiest unit. 3, you've got the Stalkers as a layer behind that, protecting the Immortals behind that, and then you've got the Colossus behind that. This is like, this is crazy. This is like how the Spartans would hold off the Persians, and millions of them. You could hold off a Zerg army for days like this. And you know, Fraer, oh man, that was just so great. But then, the last battle, after a few minutes later, have passed. Unfortunately, Fraer just wasn't set up as well as he could have been. And we can kind of see what happened. A billion Hydras kind of just blitzcragging through. Even without creep, the Heart of the Storm speed is so fast and nasty, and this was actually the best you could ask for as Zerg. Away from the choke point, on the high ground, Colossus not hiding behind units. And there is the GG. So the first game of this set is going to go to Bly, and Bly takes one step closer into going for the grand finals for that $500 prize. So I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. I'm going to come back at you guys with game 2 right after this. So don't go anywhere. This is HD StarCraft signing out.